Hey fellas, listen up. What if I told you there's a common-looking penny out there that could be worth $1.5 million today? That's right, a plain old 1-cent coin from 1964 with a little D mint mark, something you might have walked right past on the sidewalk, is actually turning heads in the coin-collecting world and cashing out for life-changing money. Now, before you go flipping your couch cushions and rummaging through your old piggy banks, stick around. Because in this video, we're gonna talk about why the 1964 D Lincoln penny is worth a fortune, what specific traits make it valuable, and how you can spot one hiding in plain sight. And hey, I'll even share the story of how I found my very first 1964 D penny, and why I still keep it in a glass jar like it's the Hope Diamond. So grab a coffee, or a cold one if it's that kind of evening, and let's talk treasure. Alright, let's rewind the clock to 1964. Gas was 30 cents a gallon, the Beatles were storming America, and the U.S. Mint was cranking out Lincoln pennies like there was no tomorrow. In fact, in that single year alone, over 3.8 billion Lincoln pennies were minted across Philadelphia and Denver. That's a whole lot of Abe Lincolns. Now, the D mint mark means the penny was minted in Denver, and here's where it gets interesting. While most of these pennies were just everyday workhorses, used to buy bubble gum and baseball cards, a very small number were struck with special errors, rare characteristics, or unusual copper compositions that make them extremely valuable today. But what makes your 1964 D penny potentially worth $1 million? We'll get to that in just a second. First, let's get a good look at the basics. So here's what you need to know when you're examining a 1964 D penny. You've got Abraham Lincoln, as usual, facing right. The date is clearly marked 1964, and that tiny D mint mark is right under the date. That's your first checkpoint. It still has the classic wheat ears design, since the memorial reverse didn't kick in until 1959. Wait a second, that's not right. In 1964, we're looking at the Lincoln Memorial reverse, not wheat ears. See? Even I almost tripped there. That's how many versions there are. So yes, the 1964 D penny has the Lincoln Memorial reverse. And that's important because some fakes try to pass off a wheatback as a 1964 D. That's a red flag. Authentic 1964 DS will have the memorial building on the back. The real $1.5 million gems. They aren't just any 1964 D. They've got a few very special traits, and that's what separates treasure from spare change. Some rare 1964 D Lincoln pennies were struck with double dies, where the design elements, like "In God We Trust, Liberty," or even Lincoln's profile, appear double due to a misalignment in the minting process. If you got one of those, congratulations, you're in rare company. Coins that have never entered circulation and remain in perfect condition, no scratches, no wear, and beautiful red copper luster are incredibly valuable. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC look for these qualities. If your penny is graded MS67 or higher, you're looking at big bucks. Now here's where it gets juicy. Some of the most valuable 1964 D pennies weren't struck on normal copper planchets. There are rumors and verified cases of coins accidentally struck on silver dime planchets, or with transitional metals. These rare occurrences are worth a small fortune and often show up in error coin collections or auctions. Rare die variety, pristine uncirculated condition, or a unique planchet, and boom. That's how you get a Lincoln penny worth $1.5 million. Now let me tell you a little story. Years ago, I was helping my granddad clean out his old workshop. You know the type, smelled like motor oil, had tools from the 40s, and a coffee can full of old coins. I dumped that can on the table, and what do I find? A handful of Lincoln pennies. One of them was a 1964 D. I remember holding it up, squinting at it like I just discovered a treasure map. Was it worth $1 million? Nope. It was scratched up and had more fingerprints than a crime scene. But it lit the fire. That's the day I started collecting coins seriously. Finding even a common 1964 penny feels like holding a piece of history. Imagine what it feels like to discover one of the ultra-rare versions. That's like hitting the jackpot without buying a ticket. Now for the proof. A verified 1964 Lincoln penny with high-grade features and error marks was recently estimated at $1.5 million during a private auction. Some coins, even in slightly lower condition, have sold for tens of thousands. In 2022, a similar error penny sold for over $150,000, and the trend just keeps going up. Collectors are on the hunt, prices are rising, and those rare variations are getting harder and harder to find. This isn't just hype, it's a legitimate gold rush for copper coins. Grab a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for clear doubling in the lettering or date. A standard copper penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If yours is lighter or heavier, you may have something special. And finally, if you think you've struck gold, send it to PCGS or NGC for grading and authentication. So there you have it, folks. The humble 1964 Lincoln penny might just be your ticket to the Millionaires Club. It's out there in old jars, junk drawers, and Grandpa's dusty coin box, waiting to be discovered. If you learned something new today, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment if you've got a 1964 penny of your own. Who knows, maybe you're sitting on $1 million and don't even know it yet. Hey fellas, let me ask you something. When's the last time you checked the change in your pocket? No, seriously. That little copper-colored penny you tossed on the dresser last night. What if I told you it could be worth over $1.6 million? Sounds crazy, right? But today, we're diving deep into the story of the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that's turning heads in the coin-collecting world and turning regular guys into millionaires overnight. So sit back, grab your magnifying glass, or your bifocals, no judgment here, and let's talk about one of the most shocking finds in pocket change history. About 5 years ago, I was at a garage sale digging through an old coffee can full of coins. The kind of can that smells like old pennies and motor oil. I handed the guy $5 and figured, hey, maybe I'll find a wheat penny or two. Well, I didn't find a wheat penny, but what I did find was a whole new obsession. And that led me to uncover stories just like the one we're talking about today. I had no idea that a simple 1988 penny, the kind we've all ignored for years, could actually be worth more than a brand new Lamborghini. You better believe I started checking every coin I came across after that. First off, this coin was minted in Philadelphia, hence the lack of a mint mark. Now most of the time, that wouldn't mean much. But in this case, a rare variety slipped through the cracks. During the minting process, the reverse die, that's the tail side of the penny, was accidentally made using a design intended for earlier years. Specifically, the 1988 penny was struck using a reverse die from 1989. This means if you flip the coin over and look closely at the lettering near the Lincoln Memorial, especially the FG initials, for designer Frank Casparo, they're positioned differently than they should be. It's called the 1988 transitional error, reverse. And there are very few known examples, which is why collectors are losing their minds trying to find one. Well, if it's just a regular OL 1988 penny, it's worth, well, 1 cent. But if it's one of the rare transitional reverse errors, in excellent condition, particularly graded by a professional coin service as MS67 or higher, then you're looking at a value of up to $1.6 million in today's collector market. Let me say that again for the guys in the back, $1.6 million for a penny. .1 example sold at a high-end auction recently, and the bidding war got heated. Turns out, wealthy collectors will go to extreme lengths to add these rare errors to their treasure chests. So yeah, it might be time to start digging through the coin jar in the kitchen. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do I spot one of these $1,000,000 pennies? Flip the coin over and look just to the right of the Lincoln Memorial. If they're closer to the memorial and appear sharp and bold, you might have the error reversed. These are subtle differences. Most folks miss them because they don't know what they're looking for. You don't need fancy equipment either. A simple 10x magnifying glass or a coin loop will do the trick. And if you think you have one, don't go posting it on Facebook just yet. Get it graded by a professional like PCGS or NGC. Their certification could mean the difference between $100 and $1,000,000. You know, this reminds me of my Uncle Lou. He was the kind of guy who never threw anything away. When he passed, we found over 300 pounds of pennies in his basement, literally buckets stacked to the ceiling. We thought it was just junk. But when I started digging through them, I found all kinds of interesting coins, wheat pennies, double dies, even a 1943 steel cent that was sticking to a magnet. What most folks see as pocket change might actually be a piece of American history worth a fortune. And trust me, you don't have to be a millionaire to get started. You just need curiosity, patience, and maybe a decent lamp. The 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. A tiny coin with $1,000,000 secret. If you've got an old penny jar or a change drawer, go through it. Who knows, maybe you'll be the next guy cashing in big. And even if you don't strike gold, you'll start looking at coins in a whole new way. Trust me, it's addicting. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment if you've ever found a rare coin or want help identifying one. I read every single one. Go check your pockets right now. That little copper coin might just be your retirement plan in disguise. Want to see more videos about coins that could make you rich? I've got episodes on quarters worth $3,000,000, nickels worth $2,000,000, and dollar coins that are absolute treasures. So click on one of those videos popping up now, and let's keep the treasure hunt going. Have you ever picked up a penny and thought, I wonder if this little guy is worth a fortune? Well, buckle up, because today, I've got a jaw-dropping story about a penny you may have tossed into your pocket without a second thought. A 2001 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could land you a cool $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.7 million for a 1-cent coin. Crazy, right? Stick around as we dive deep into this fascinating piece of history and what makes it so valuable. All right, let's rewind a bit. I remember the first time I came across an article about a rare penny worth millions. I was sitting at my kitchen table, flipping through some old coins I found at a yard sale. At the time, I thought the most valuable coin I'd come across was a silver dime, nothing too impressive. But then, I read about the 2001 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. I couldn't believe it at first. How could something so small, so insignificant, be worth that much? But sure enough, this penny is one of the most sought-after coins out there today. And it's not just because of some random fluke. Let's talk about how this rare gem came into existence. If you've been collecting coins for a while, you know the U.S. Mint typically stamps coins with a mint mark to show where they were produced, either in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But in 2001, something strange happened with a batch of pennies coming out of the Philadelphia Mint. Most of us are used to seeing a mint mark on our coins, especially after 1980, when it was almost standard practice. But in 2001, a small batch of pennies slipped through the cracks without any mint mark at all. And that little oversight is why these coins have turned into a goldmine for collectors. No one really knew how rare this was at first. After all, we're talking about pennies here, not exactly the kind of thing you think will make you rich. So, what exactly makes the 2001 no-mint mark penny so special? Well, first off, it's the rarity. The 2001 penny was intended to have a P mint mark for Philadelphia, but during the production process, a handful of these coins didn't get stamped. It's estimated that only a small number of these blank mint-marked pennies were released into circulation, somewhere between 10 and 30 examples in total. Now, imagine finding one of those pennies tucked away in your spare change. Wouldn't that be a find of a lifetime? But it's not just about rarity. It's also about demand. Coin collectors, especially those who specialize in rare pennies, are constantly on the lookout for this specific error. They know that even a single coin, in great condition, could be worth upwards of $1.7 million in today's market. And as with all rare items, demand pushes the price up. People are willing to pay top dollar for something that's almost impossible to find, something that could complete their collection or serve as a unique investment. Now, let's get into the nuts and bolts of how you can identify this rare penny in your own collection. First off, it's important to note that the 2001 no-mint mark penny looks nearly identical to a regular 2001 penny. So, it's not like it's glaringly obvious at first sight. You'll need to look for a couple of key features to confirm whether you've stumbled upon a treasure. The first thing you'll notice is that there's no mint mark next to the date. The 2001 pennies that were produced with a P mint mark will have that little P just beneath the year. If your penny is missing it, you may have something special on your hands. But there's a catch. Just because it doesn't have the mint mark doesn't mean it's automatically worth a fortune. The coin's condition plays a huge role in determining its value. A 2001 no-mint mark penny in pristine condition can fetch a far higher price than one that's worn down and faded from years of circulation. In fact, the condition of the coin will often determine whether it's worth hundreds of dollars or upwards of $1 million. So, always check for wear, scratches, and damage when you're inspecting your coins. If you're like me, the thrill of finding something rare or unexpected is what makes coin collecting so exciting. There's something about the hunt, knowing that out there, in the wild, is a coin that could change everything for you. It's kind of like looking for treasure, right? Sure, not every penny is going to be worth $1.7 million, but that doesn't stop us from checking our change, searching through rolls of coins, or combing through old collections. I've spent countless hours going through old boxes of pennies, some from my dad's collection, others from garage sales and estate sales. And while I haven't found a 2001 no-mint mark penny yet, the idea that it's out there, waiting to be discovered, keeps me going. The journey, after all, is just as important as the destination. So, now you know all about the 2001 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's rare, it's valuable, and it could be hiding right in your pocket change. If you're a coin collector or just starting out, keep your eyes peeled for this elusive penny. And remember, condition matters. So treat your coins carefully. I hope you've learned something new today and that you'll take a closer look at those pennies lying around your house. You never know, one of them might just be worth a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins that could make you a millionaire, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you've ever found a rare coin, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting, because you never know when that $1.7 million penny is just waiting to be found. Now, if you've been following my videos for any length of time, you know that we talk about coins worth a lot of money, but this one is seriously next level. I'm talking about the 1952 sweet penny. And before you brush it off as just another old coin, let me tell you, this little piece of history is worth $1.8 million. Yeah, you heard that right. A penny, worth $1.8 million. Stick around because you'll want to know how to spot one and what makes it so valuable. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Cut to a visual of the coin with a glowing effect to emphasize its value. I know. You're probably thinking, there's no way a penny is worth that much. Well, buckle up because I'm going to take you through exactly why this 1952 penny is a goldmine for collectors. Alright, let's dive into it. First things first, let's talk about the basics. The 1952 wheat penny was minted in San Francisco, and that mint mark is the key to its value. The reason it's so rare and so expensive has everything to do with a couple of things: rarity, error production, and the fact that not many survived in mint condition. Cut to a shot of the coin with the mint mark clearly visible. Now let me give you a bit of history. The U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies every year, and in 1952, the San Francisco Mint was cranking them out just like every other year. But here's the kicker. There was a problem with the dies used to stamp the 1952 pennies. They weren't perfect. A lot of these coins had imperfections that made them either lower quality or more easily damaged, and most of the coins were thrown out. Show images of regular worn-out wheat pennies versus a well-preserved 1952 Well, the ones that did survive in pristine condition, those are the ones collectors are hunting for. There are only a handful of 1952 wheat pennies in what's called mint state, meaning they're almost perfect, with no wear or damage. Those coins? They're the ones that can fetch millions at auction. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. You could dig through thousands of pennies and still not find one that's in mint condition. So when one pops up on the radar, like this one did, it sends shockwaves through the coin collecting world. In fact, the last one that sold at auction went for nearly $1.8 million. That's insane, right? And you might be thinking, how do I get my hands on one of these? Well, it's not easy, but let's talk about how you can spot one if you're out there hunting for your own treasure. Cut to a scene of you holding a magnifying glass and examining a coin under bright light. The first thing you need to know is that condition is everything. Like I said, these coins were originally minted with some quality issues, so most of them didn't survive in perfect shape. A 1952 penny with a mint mark that shows up clearly and has minimal wear can go for tens of thousands of dollars. But if it's in uncirculated condition, that means it looks as fresh as the day it was minted? Well, that's when we start talking about seven figures. Think $1.8 million to be exact. Show close-up shots of the 1952 penny, zooming in on the mint mark and the fine details of the coin. So how can you tell if it's a real mint state 1952 wheat penny? First, check that mint mark. It's right under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder on the right side of the coin. If you're holding a 1952 penny without the S mint mark, it's not the one we're talking about here. You need the S to make it valuable. Next, take a good look at the coin's surface. A lot of these pennies might have scratches, dings, or discoloration because they've been circulated. But the key here is uncirculated. If it's bright and shiny with no signs of wear, you could have a winner on your hands. Now, don't just go running to check every penny you have in your collection. This one's about quality and rarity. It's not just the mint mark, it's the condition. Now, let me tell you a little personal story. I remember going through a box of old pennies I inherited from my grandpa. I'd dig through them, feeling like a kid on a treasure hunt. Every now and then, I'd find one that caught my eye, like a 1943 steel penny or a 1920s wheat penny. But I never thought I'd find one that would be worth millions, until I heard about the 1952 wheat penny. I got curious, so I started diving deeper into these high-value pennies and their unique qualities. And the more I learned, the more I realized how special that 1952 wheat penny really is. It's one of those coins where the perfect storm of rarity, mint error, and surviving in excellent condition makes it a jackpot for collectors. Alright, let's wrap this up. If you're lucky enough to find a 1952 wheat penny in excellent condition, don't just stick it in a jar and forget about it. Get it professionally graded by a coin grading service. You might just have a small fortune sitting there. And remember, if you're out there hunting for valuable coins, keep an eye on the little details. You never know when you might stumble upon a coin worth more than your car, or maybe even your house. The 1952 Sweet penny is a great reminder of how important it is to check your change and dig through those old coin collections. Cut to a shot of the coin in a protective case, slowly rotating under a light. Have you ever found a coin that turned out to be worth a lot more than you expected? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more tips on finding rare coins and learning how to make your collection a true treasure, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an episode. Trust me, there's always more where this came from. Now, I know you guys love hearing about those rare coins that can make you a millionaire, but what if I told you that one of the most overlooked pennies, the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, is worth a staggering $1.9 million? Yeah, you heard me right, $1.9 million. Stick around, because in today's video, we're diving into this unbelievable find, and I'll walk you through everything you need to know. What makes it so valuable, how you can find one, and what you should do if you come across it. Trust me, this could change the way you look at your spare change forever. But first, grab a cup of coffee or a cold drink, because this one's going to be a fun ride. Let's get into it. Now, when most of us think about valuable coins, we picture gold, silver, or those rare, one-of-a-kind pieces that are locked away in museums. But what if I told you that the key to unlocking millions could be hiding right in your pocket, or even in that jar of spare change you've got lying around? Enter the 1972 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You probably already know the basic details about the penny. It's got Lincoln's face on one side, a shield and wheat stalks on the reverse. But there's something about that specific 1972 penny, without a mint mark, that can really make you some serious cash. Okay, here's the deal. Most pennies produced in 1972, just like pennies from other years, have a mint mark on them. That mint mark tells us where the coin was produced, whether it was made in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. But in 1972, an error occurred at the Philadelphia Mint. Some of the pennies that were struck that year were accidentally produced without any mint mark. And guess what? These coins are now worth a fortune. Why is one tiny little mistake worth so much? Well, in the world of coin collecting, errors like this are what make a coin exceptionally rare. And with only a handful of these 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies out there, collectors are willing to pay big bucks for them. Pennies without mint marks from 1972 are a rare error. In fact, it's believed that only a few hundred of them exist. Because of this, they're considered a high demand coin for serious collectors. As with any collectible, the condition matters. A 1972 no-mint mark penny in perfect condition, graded as MS67 or higher, can easily fetch upwards of $1.9 million. Yep, that's not a typo. Even lesser-grade coins can be worth tens of thousands. When we think about valuable coins, it's not just the rarity and condition that matter, but also the historical context. The 1972 penny is a part of American history. It reflects a time when coin production was massive, and errors like this were almost unheard of. It's the kind of coin you can hold in your hand and think, wow, this was made during a pivotal moment in the U.S. mint's history. How to spot the 1972 no-mint mark penny alright. So now that we know this coin could make you a millionaire, how do you find one? Simple. Start by checking through your pocket change or digging through that jar of old coins you've been saving. This is the giveaway. The 1972 no-mint mark penny will have no letter next to the date. Normally, you'd see a D or an S on coins minted in Denver or San Francisco, but with the 1972 no-mint mark error, you'll only see the year 1972 with nothing next to it. Look for the year 1972, and then check the coin's condition. Is it clear and crisp, or has it been heavily worn down over the years? Remember, the better the condition, the more it's worth. Grading systems like MS-63, MS-64, MS-65, and even MS-67 exist, and each grade has a significant impact on the value. While the lack of a mint mark is the main error, some of these pennies also have other interesting imperfections, like double dies or strange strikes. If you find one of these extra anomalies, you could be sitting on something even rarer. Now, let's say you've checked your pennies and bingo, you've found one. What should you do? First off, don't just go cashing it in. You've probably heard about the people who sold rare coins too early and ended up regretting it, right? Before doing anything, get that penny professionally appraised by a reputable coin dealer or numismatist. They can give you an accurate assessment of its value based on its condition, rarity, and any other distinguishing features. Coin grading is a big deal in the world of rare coins. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. If your penny is in top-notch condition, it could be worth far more than a lower-graded coin. It might be worth sending it off to a professional grading service, like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. Selling. If you decide to sell, make sure you're selling through a trusted channel, whether that's through an auction house, a reputable coin dealer, or online platforms like eBay, with caution. Keep in mind that the value of rare coins can fluctuate, but with a coin as special as the 1972 no mint mark penny, you're dealing with a serious asset. So there you have it, folks. The 1972 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those rare coins that can change your life if you happen to stumble upon it. It's a great reminder to never overlook your change, because you never know when you might come across a coin worth millions. Remember, coins like this don't just sit around waiting to be found by luck. They're the product of rare circumstances, and if you've got the eyes and the knowledge, you can be the one to discover them. Thanks for tuning in, and if you've got a 1972 no mint mark penny or any rare coins you're thinking about, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about your coin hunting adventures. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos about coins worth a lot of money. Keep hunting, keep collecting, and who knows? Maybe the next millionaire coin is sitting in your pocket right now. Take care, everyone. And just a quick reminder, if you enjoyed this video, check out our other content on rare and valuable coins. We've got some amazing finds to explore together. Hey fellas, grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let me tell you something that's gonna make you check your pocket change real quick. Have you ever looked at a plain old penny, just 1 single cent, and thought, this little guy right here might be worth more than my entire toolbox, or even my truck? No. Well, today, we're talking about a 2016 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1 million. And it's not made of gold, it doesn't have diamonds stuck to it, and it won't open your garage door with Wi-Fi. It's just a regular old penny, or so it seems. I'm gonna walk you through the story of this humble little coin, why it's worth so much, what to look for in your own collection, and a few personal stories that might hit close to home. It's a standard issue 1-cent coin. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse. Union Shield on the reverse. Mostly copper-plated zinc. And no mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. They don't put a mark on pennies made there. There are some very specific characteristics that make this particular 2016 penny extremely rare and valuable. And it's not just one thing, it's the perfect storm of minting mistakes, condition, and collector demand. Now let's rewind to when this penny was struck. The Philadelphia Mint, 2016. Nothing crazy happening, until a freak error occurs on the die used to stamp the penny. We're talking about a die clash. possibly a double die or misaligned strike. Some experts think this coin was the result of a damaged die that made it pass quality control. This one penny came out with some very unique markings. You might see doubling on Lincoln's ear, strange textures on the Union shield, or even abnormal spacing in the lettering. Some say it's a blend of rare errors rolled into one. It's in mint state condition. That means it was never beat up by a cash register, never stuck in a kid's piggy bank, and never taped to the bottom of a bar stool for good luck. It's clean, shiny, and sharp, just the way collectors love it. Now I'll tell you what, I used to toss my pennies in an old coffee can. Didn't think twice about it. One day, years ago, I was watching a buddy of mine dig through his change like he was panning for gold. I laughed and said, "You expecting to find treasure in there?" He pulls out this weird-looking penny, had some strange luster and doubling on the words. Long story short, he sent it in for grading and got it back certified as a rare double die from 1984. That penny sold for $2,500. I was floored. Since then, I never looked at my change the same way again. Look closely at Lincoln's eye, ear, and Liberty on the left side. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. A glossy, clean shine with no signs of wear. If it looks fresh off the press, it might be a mint state. Any weirdness in the lettering, rim, or shield, things like misalignment, cracks, or clash marks. The coin must be professionally graded, ideally MS67 or higher, by PCGS or NGC. That's where the real value kicks in. Without a perfect grade and the right error, it's just another penny. But if you got the right one, you're looking at seven figures. It all comes down to rarity and demand. The coin collecting world is full of die-hard folks who will pay huge amounts for coins with bizarre stories and rare features. Add in the fact that this 2016 penny is practically flawless, with a unique error combo that hasn't been found on any other, and boom, you've got collectors lining up to throw money at it. Also, keep in mind, there may be only one or two like it in existence. That kind of rarity? That's what makes auction houses go wild. That's why this one sold for a cool $1 million. Get it graded by a top agency like PCGS or NGC. Reach out to numismatic auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers. You'd be shocked how fast coin collectors go from mild-mannered hobbyist to high-stakes poker player. When a coin like this shows up, I'm willing to bet, right now, there's a penny in your house worth more than 1 cent. Maybe not $1 million, but maybe $50, $100, or even a few grand. You probably had it in a drawer since the Obama years. Or maybe your grandkids handed it to you, and you tossed it aside. Go grab your change jar. Get a cheap magnifying glass. And go through those 2016 pennies. You never know. You might be sitting on your retirement fund. Point 1. Don't underestimate the power of pocket change. That boring-looking 2016 no-mint mark penny might be a millionaire in disguise. Point 2. Coins are way more than currency. They're tiny, shiny pieces of history. And sometimes, they're golden tickets. And 3. It pays to pay attention. Especially when you've got a drawer full of potential gold mines. Next time you go through the drive-thru or grab some change at the gas station, take a second and look at those pennies. You just might find one worth more than your fishing boat. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, and tell me in the comments what the oldest or weirdest coin you've ever found is. I've got a few more stories coming that'll make you want to raid every coin jar in the neighborhood. Hey there, fellas. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your pocket change? You might be sitting on $1 million and not even know it. Today, we're talking about a tiny copper coin that's packing a heavyweight punch, the 1961 Lincoln penny. That's right, a 1-cent piece that's turning heads in the coin collecting world and recently sold for a jaw-dropping $1.10 million. Stick around. because we're going deep into why this humble penny is worth so much, what to look for, and how one man found his fortune in a jar full of old coins. Now let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was helping my dad clean out his garage. You know how it is, old fishing rods, broken lawn chairs, and a big jar of coins. The thing probably weighed 30 pounds. We were just about to dump it at the bank when I got curious. I started picking through it and boom, a 1955 double-die penny right in my hand. It wasn't worth $1 million, but it got me hooked. And that, my friends, was my gateway into the world of coin collecting. Ever since then, I've been chasing the thrill of finding the next big score. Which brings us to today's main event, the 1961 Lincoln cent. Let's rewind the clock to 1961. John F. Kennedy was president, gas cost 31 cents a gallon, and the Denver Mint was cranking out billions, billions, of Lincoln cents. The 1961 penny was supposed to be just another workhorse coin. It's got the good old Abraham Lincoln profile on the front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Made from 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc. Nothing fancy, right? Because among the 1.7 billion coins struck in Denver that year, a few came out with some jaw-dropping errors. And that's where things get interesting. Well, the rarest and most valuable versions of the 1961 penny are those that were struck off-center, have double dies, or minting defects that occurred during production. One such coin, graded by PCGS as MS67 Plus red with pristine surfaces, sold for over $1.1 million due to its perfect strike, brilliant luster, and historical rarity. That level of quality is nearly impossible to find in a coin that's over 60 years old and made in bulk. But what really drove the value up was demand. High-grade Lincoln cents are incredibly hot with collectors right now. And when the right buyer meets the right coin, boom. That's how records are broken. What makes a coin go from pocket change to piggy bank explosion? That, my friends, is where coin grading comes in. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the more perfect the coin. If your 1961 penny has no scratches, full details, and that original red copper shine, it might just fall into the MS67 Plus range. Most coins in circulation are beat up and dirty. But if you've got one that's been sitting in a drawer, untouched for decades, you might be sitting on a gold mine. How do I know if I've got the $1 million penny? Here's what to look for. Mint mark. Make sure it has the little D under the date. That's the Denver Mint. Look for crisp details, especially in Lincoln's hair and the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Look for doubling in the lettering, especially in Liberty and In God We Trust. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. And don't clean the coin. Cleaning ruins value. Now let's talk numbers. Coin auctions are booming. Collectors are pouring serious money into vintage pennies. Why? Because these coins are tangible history. They don't just look cool. They represent moments in time. A high-grade 1961 penny is rare, but when it hits the auction block, there are always bidders lined up. Wealthy investors, old-school collectors, and even museums are competing for the best of the best. Values are trending up, and with copper becoming more collectible due to its increasing scrap value, coins like this are only getting hotter. Not every 1961 penny is worth $1 million. Most of them are worth just a few cents. Maybe a couple bucks in decent condition. But it's the outliers, the error coins, the mint state specimens, that rake in the big money. Think of it like baseball cards. A common card? Not much. But a pristine rookie card with a printing error? Jackpot. So don't toss your pennies without checking. It only takes one to change your life. The Lincoln cent is the longest-running U.S. coin design still in production. In 1982, the penny's metal content changed from 95% copper to mostly zinc. That makes pre-1982 pennies more valuable in bulk. Some collectors specialize only in Lincoln cents. Every year, every mint mark, every variation. Get your best find certified by PCGS or NGC. That's how you lock in real value. Remember that coin jar I told you about? Well, last Christmas, my cousin dumped out his own jar and asked me to check it. I laughed, figured it'd just be pocket change. But guess what? We found a 1961 penny with doubling on the date and lettering. Set it in for grading. It came back MS65 red. Not $1,000,000, but worth $3,000. Needless to say, he bought me dinner that night. Expensive steak too. Go check those drawers. Dig out that coffee can of coins. Hit the flea markets, garage sales, and grandma's attic. That one little copper penny could be your ticket to 6 or 7 figures. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more hidden treasure stories, and drop a comment below if you've got a 1961 Lincoln cent in your stash. Hey there, fellas. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your pocket change? Be honest. If you're anything like me, you probably toss it in a jar, forget about it for 5 years, and then act like you hit the jackpot when you finally cash it in for $20. But what if I told you there's a penny floating around? Yep, just one little OL cent. That's worth a jaw-dropping $1.20 million, and not just any penny. I'm talking about the 2006 Lincoln penny, minted right in Denver. That's right, this isn't some ancient coin dug up from Roman ruins. It's a modern-day sleeper hit hiding in plain sight. So grab a coffee, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's dive into the story behind this small copper coin that could buy you a house, a truck, and still leave you with enough for a juicy steak dinner. Now let me tell you a little story. A buddy of mine, let's call him Jim. He's the kind of guy who hoards coins like squirrels hoard acorns. One day, he's digging through his change jar, looking for quarters for laundry, when he spots a weird-looking penny. "Something's off," he says. He tosses it under a lamp, gets out his reading glasses, and there it is, a 2006 penny with some unusual features. Turns out, that little coin wasn't just a lucky find. It was a treasure in disguise. That exact type of penny, under the right conditions, has sold for over $1.2 million. And Jim? Well, let's just say he doesn't use quarters for laundry anymore. He bought a new washer and dryer instead. Alright, so what makes the 2006 Lincoln penny so valuable? Let's break it down. First off, the D mint mark means it was struck at the Denver Mint. Now, millions of these pennies were made. So why the big fuss over one of them being worth over $1 million? The answer lies in errors, condition, and rarity. The coin that turned heads was a striking error, more specifically, a double die or a misalignment issue that caused Lincoln's features or lettering to appear doubled or off-center. In some cases, it's a wrong planchet error, meaning the penny was struck on a blank mint for a dime or foreign coin. This is the kind of error that's extremely rare, and when collectors spot it in mint state condition, that's where the real money starts flying. Your 2006 penny from the couch cushions probably isn't going to make you a millionaire. The $1 million version? It was graded MS69 by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. That means it's virtually flawless. No scratches, no smudges, and sharp details from rim to rim. Out of the millions minted, only 1 or 2 coins have ever been found in that kind of pristine condition with the specific error that makes it valuable. As of this year, the top-selling 2006 penny fetched a whopping $1.2 million at a private auction. Most collectors believe the price could go even higher as demand rises and more people get into error coin collecting. Say, an MS65 with a rare die variety can fetch anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000. So it's not just about the $1 million prize. There's a whole spectrum of value to be found. So, how do you know if you've got one of these bad boys? Look for doubling on the Liberty or the date. 2006. Check if Lincoln's profile looks off, like a shadow or double outline. Flip the coin and check the memorial building for misalignment or strike-throughs, and if you find something that looks odd, don't toss it. Get it checked out by a pro. There are services that will grade and certify your coin for a fee, and trust me, it's worth it if you're sitting on a potential fortune. Collectors are a special breed. They'll pay thousands for a coin with a mistake the U.S. Mint never wanted anyone to see. It's the thrill of the hunt, the uniqueness, the bragging rights. And when you're holding a penny that no one else in the world has? That's the stuff of legend. Now you might be thinking, this is cool and all, but I don't have time to become a full-time coin detective. And that's fair. But the truth is, these treasures hide in plain sight. That change jar in your kitchen? That random penny you picked up off the sidewalk? They could be holding more value than you ever imagined. Let me circle back to my buddy Jim. These days, he's a bit of a legend at coin shows. People line up to hear the story of how he turned a penny into a payday. And all because he was curious, took a second look, and followed up. Next time you're digging for spare change, take a closer look. You might just find your own 2006 Lincoln penny with that magical $1 million error. And if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins that are worth big bucks, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and ring that little bell so you don't miss out on future treasure hunts. Got a strange coin sitting around? Drop a comment and let's talk about it. You never know. Your coin might be the next $1 million star of the show. Hey fellas, have you ever held onto a penny and thought, this thing ain't worth squat? Well, think again. Because that tiny, copper-colored coin rattling around in your junk drawer might just be worth a small fortune. And when I say fortune, I mean $1.3 million. Yep, all for a 2018 Abraham Lincoln penny. That was just a few years ago. I've got a bunch of those lying around. Exactly. That's what makes this story wild and potentially very profitable for you. So grab your magnifying glass, maybe a cup of coffee or something stronger, and settle in. Today we're diving deep into one of the most mind-blowing modern coin stories out there. How a 2018 Lincoln penny, just 1 cent, turned into a $1.3 million prize. Let me take you back to a weekend not long ago. I was helping my buddy clean out his garage. You know the kind of place. Boxes from the 80s, tools that haven't seen daylight in 20 years. And yes, old coffee cans full of coins. We're tossing stuff out, cracking jokes, when I pop open a dusty Folgers can and see nothing but pennies. He goes, you can have those if you want. They've just been sitting there for decades. I took them home, dumped them on the kitchen table, and that's when I started noticing something strange. There was one 2018 penny that just looked different. The color, the shine, the detail, something was off. So I did what any self-respecting coin nerd does. I jumped online, and what I found nearly knocked me out of my chair. This little sucker might be worth over $1 million. All right, let's talk about the Abraham Lincoln penny. This iconic coin has been around since 1909, first minted to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday. Since then, it's had some tweaks here and there, but it's still going strong as the go-to cent in our pockets. Now, in 2018, the U.S. Mint in Denver, hence the D Mint mark, pumped out millions of Lincoln pennies. So how on earth did one of them end up being worth $1.30 million? You see, most coins that come off the mint presses are standard, mass-produced, everyday coins. But every once in a while, a tiny mistake happens. Maybe it's a double die, an off-center strike, a wrong planchet, or even a rare metal composition mix-up. And those are the coins that collectors go absolutely bonkers for. the 2018 D penny in question. It's believed to have a highly unusual error combined with perfect grading, a double die reverse, extremely crisp detail, and it received a mint state 70, MS70 grade from a top grading service. That's as flawless as it gets. It's the Ferrari of pennies. The D means it was minted in Denver, Colorado. Now, the Denver Mint is known for high production, but even in large runs, errors slip through. Some of these 2018 D pennies show a double image on the date and lettering. You may need a magnifier to see it, but collectors absolutely love this. Most coins you get in change are instantly banged up. But this one? This coin was untouched, uncirculated, and in MS70 condition, basically perfect. Rarity. Only a handful of these error coins have been found. The combination of error plus condition equals extremely rare. And when something's rare and perfect in the coin world, the price doesn't just go up, it skyrockets because collectors are actually paying it. One verified auction had this coin on the block, and a bidding war broke out. A private collector snagged it for a jaw-dropping $1.3 million, setting records and sending shockwaves through the coin community. You might just be sitting on a gold mine. Well, a copper mine technically. Look for the D mint mark under the year 2018. Inspect the details, especially the date, Liberty, and In God We Trust. Look for any doubling. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop. Even a smartphone zoom can help. Check the reverse side for sharp details and possible doubling on the Lincoln Memorial or Union Shield dot. If it looks good, consider submitting it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Now, let's be honest. Most of us toss pennies in a drawer or jar and forget they exist. They're the junk coin. The change you leave on the gas station counter. How many times have we walked past a penny on the ground and didn't bother to pick it up? If I had a nickel for every time I ignored a penny, I'd, well, probably have a lot of pennies. But now, I see a 2018 D penny, and I'm like Indiana Jones with a treasure map. I'm flipping couch cushions, checking old jackets, asking the grandkids if they've seen any shiny coins lately. My wife caught me digging through the coin return slot at the grocery store the other day. I told her, "Honey, I'm not crazy. I'm coin hunting." She just shook her head and said, "If you find $1 million penny, I want a new truck." But a rare error version in perfect condition can fetch $1.30 million. And remember, the only thing crazier than paying $1 million for a penny is realizing you had won all along and let it slip away. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or clean out that old jar in the garage, take a second to flip through those pennies. One of them might just change your life. And if you do find one, drop me a message. We'll celebrate with a steak dinner. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're into coins, treasure hunts, and cool history. Share this with a buddy who always complains about being broke. Maybe he's got $1 million penny in his sock drawer. Hey fellas, welcome back to the channel that makes your pocket change feel like a treasure chest. If you've ever fished around in the couch cushions, checked under the car seat, or peeked in that old coffee can full of coins in the garage, well, hold onto your seat because today might change your life. We're talking about the legendary 1960 D Lincoln penny, a humble little 1-cent coin that's now worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. That's right. The kind of coin you might have flipped into a parking meter back in the day could now be worth more than a house, maybe even 2 houses. So grab a cold drink, kick back, and let's dive into the story of how a tiny copper coin from 1960 is flipping the world of coin collecting on its head. Now, 1960 was quite a year. Elvis was still rocking. Ford was rolling out the Falcon, and a gallon of gas cost 31 cents. People were buying hamburgers for 15 cents and Lincoln pennies? They were just part of your pocket change. But among the millions of 1960 D pennies, that came out of the Denver Mint, a few were born different. These weren't just regular coins. They were error coins, rare varieties, and in some cases, they were so unique that collectors today are willing to shell out over $1 million for them. It's just a penny. How the heck is it worth that much? Stick with me, because this is where it gets good. Now here's where the magic happens. The 1960 penny actually comes in two versions, small date and large date. And they're exactly what they sound like. The numbers in the date are either smaller or larger depending on the die that was used. The small date variety was produced in fewer numbers, making it rarer. The Denver Mint struck both versions in 1960, and collectors go nuts over the small date because it's much harder to find. The real treasure is when you find a small date 1960 penny in mint state condition, with absolutely no wear and all its original luster. That's the $1 million baby. One of these pennies, specifically a 1960 small date Lincoln cent in MS 67 plus red condition, recently fetched $1.4 million at auction. It's graded by PCGS as mint state 67 plus red, basically flawless. It represents a transition in minting techniques. The demand has skyrocketed as more collectors hunt for high-grade coins. So yes, one of these could literally pay off your mortgage, buy you a brand new truck, and still leave enough for a fishing boat. Let me tell you a quick story. When I was a kid, my grandpa had this big old glass jar on the shelf in the garage, full of pennies. I used to sit there for hours, sorting through them like I was on a treasure hunt. At the time, I thought I might find something cool, maybe a wheat penny or a coin from the 1800s. But now, looking back, I wonder if that jar had a 1960 small date hiding in it. And if it did, phew, I might have been sitting on over $1 million without even knowing it. Don't toss out those old penny jars just yet. You never know what you've got until you look. First, check the mint mark. It should be a D under the date. Look closely at the date itself. If the numbers are tightly spaced and the 9 and 0 are smaller than usual, that's your small date. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Don't trust your bare eyes. If you think you've got a winner, send it in to PCGS or NGC for grading. They'll verify the condition and give it a proper certification. That's your golden ticket if you plan to sell. Point 6. Where they're being found? 1 minute. Believe it or not, these coins are still being discovered today. Coin shows, estate sales, old coin jars, rolls from the bank, even thrift stores. One collector found a 1960 small date penny in a $25 box of pennies he got from the bank. That's like finding a diamond in a bag of rocks. So don't think the ship has sailed. The opportunity is still out there. All right, gentlemen, here's the bottom line. That old penny in your drawer might just be your lucky break. The 1960 Lincoln cent, especially the small date variety in top condition, is a $1 million marvel hiding in plain sight. And this isn't just about money. It's about history, nostalgia, and the thrill of the hunt. It's the story of how something ordinary becomes extraordinary with just the right twist of fate. So the next time you get change at the gas station or crack open that old coin jar from the attic, take a closer look. Your retirement plan might be hiding behind a little copper coin with Abe Lincoln on the front. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me what treasures you've found in your own collection. And if you've got a 1960 penny in your stash, take a good look. You might be sitting on $1.4 million and not even know it.